sure you were all very perplexed when you saw the invitation. Somebody, I think Terence said, I don't know what it's about, but I'll come anyway. It's a bit like that. And then you think, I hope that the senior counsel isn't going to talk to me about the intricacies of law, because that's not what I'm giving up my Saturday afternoon for. I promise you I won't do that. The topic obviously came up. Comfortable in my body, it's complicated, and we know it's complicated because we're women. For some reason, it's a lot more complicated for us than it is for men. And you only have to look at how Ozempic is flying off the shelves to know just how complicated it actually is. So the topic for today is obviously about breasts and friendship and networking and getting to know what we can do as women for each other. For me today is about, I learned a lot about what other women, Marky, you being one of them, is going through. So I think each one hold one. It's not just about what you can do with your breast, but it's about informing ourselves as women about issues that affect women specifically and how we should be starting to look at things differently. One of the things that always bugs me when you know that this was designed by men for men, not only medical aids, I don't think, but if you go to a building, there's equal amount of loos for men and women. For heaven's sake, men take 3 seconds. We take a long time. Can we have more loos, please? So that kind of thing. So, yes, and every tree is a lap.
And no unisex.
Okay, so large breasts. Why I was asked to talk about it, I think, is because somebody suspected that because I do medical negligence work, I might be able to talk sensibly to you. I think that was completely wrong, so please have a lot of wine and don't worry about it. Okay, so large breasts are known as gigantomastia or macromastia. And as you've heard, it affects women very much and how you feel about your body and how comfortable you feel in your own body. Whilst no doubt, I'm sure a lot of women's sexual partners may not necessarily have any complaints, it's not about them. It's not about your sexual partner. It's not about your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. It's about how you feel in your own body, about yourself. And so that's why we're talking about it. It was as informative for me as I hope it will be for you. When I was preparing for this, I was actually quite distressed to read about the experience of women who have large breasts. Carla Jenkins is a journalist in the UK, and she wrote how she felt harassed by her own body before her breast reduction. Quite apart from having to hide her body under layers and layers of clothes, she had chronic headaches and suffers from neck and back pain for which she had to take painkillers every day. She describes how on holiday a boy she had never met grabbed her chest in the pool. She got out of the pool and he got to stay. On the hockey pitch, a female teacher advised her to invest in a more appropriate and less distracting bra. This is a woman who's just trying to make it to tomorrow. When she finally managed to get a breast reduction, she went from a size 34 GG to a 32E, and she wept. She said she had emerged from a battle feeling victorious. The decision had an impact not just on her body, but also on her mental health and every aspect of her daily life. And you can understand why. And one thing that women do is we try and make the world a better, kinder place with the empathy we have for each other. Amy Hill is a young personal trainer. She had a bra size of 28 kk. She said, "I hated my breasts. They were a constant strain on me." She describes how for the best part of a year, she wore a bikini top. "It was all that would fit me. I'd always attract unwanted attention. People thought they were fake. You could always see them. They were enormous. They get in the way of everything." When she was told by the NHS that she didn't qualify for a breast reduction on the NHS because their reason was it didn't affect her mentally enough, she just blacked out completely. But she kept on fighting, as you have, Marky. Hill eventually had a breast reduction on the NHS in 2016 when she was 21, and from that point onwards, she could go to the gym without having to wear 3 bras. She didn't have to hide herself. and she qualified and works as a personal trainer. The situation, as you heard from Margie, is not very different. And that's why it's so important for each one hold one, because we're about, thank you, Charmaine, about equity and about empowering women. And we do that by knowing what's going on around us. There is a support group in South Africa, which is called Breast Reduction Support South Africa. They are petitioning the Council for Medical Schemes to amend their medical policies to recognize breast reduction surgery as a medical surgery that should be financed by medical aids, where there are valid medical reasons and not to be categorized exclusively as cosmetic surgery. One of the things that we need to look at is whether or not medical aids are treating everyone the same and applying the same criteria to everyone. And if you are rejected within a day, I doubt that that's happening. They are doing this because large breasts can cause many health problems. We've heard some of them, but spinal cord damage, back pain, shoulder pain, brass scars, marks, skin irritation, rashes, breathing problems, numbness, fatigue, headaches, migraines. These are some of the physical descriptions, and as you know, it's not a one-size-fits-all for everyone. Mentally, it can lead to a lack of confidence, emotional stress, affect your ability to exercise and participate in sport comfortably, challenges in finding a suitable bra, and clothing and self-esteem issues, psychological distress and depression. It's not likely to ever be a prescribed minimum benefit. I think in South Africa we have about 27 that qualify automatically. You go onto the Council for Medical Schemes website to see. But we know that won't happen. But what we can work out at as women, as we conscientize ourselves about how iniquitous it is to change the description from cosmetic to a surgery that you need, where there are valid medical reasons for doing so, and for making sure that the treatment is equal. So what can we do? Thanks to organizations like Each One Hold One and getting us all together. Chantal, thanks for this, because I really learned a lot having to prepare for this. I think the first and most important thing is awareness. I really wasn't aware of how extensive the problem is and how iniquitous it is until I started having to prepare for this. Networking is important. We all know women in power. We are no longer the ones who are not heard. There are a lot of women here who are sitting in boardrooms and who can bring that awareness to where they are. Finding out from your medical aid what their criteria is and why those criteria are not equally the same overall. And why is it not enough to write a referral letter from a surgeon saying, this is the size? Automatically, that should be one of the things that you need to have to look at and how it affects your life. I think pressure is the only thing that brings about change. And we need to know what are those requirements. Again, making the criteria fair and uniform, not selective. Of course it must fit the patient, but you must have a system where you know these are the criteria, I meet them and I can meet them and I need to do this to get what I need. We can certainly make use of our legal friends. We've got a very senior counsel who really could help a lot, sitting right there, and grouping women together, a few women together to say, well, this is the issue we have with our medical aid. We're all in the same boat and we want to change. Margie, we might likely start with yours. And being mindful about it, being aware that someone making a comment to a woman with large breasts, calling them out and saying that's not on. We know that a lot of gender-based violence happens in our country, and I think it's part of us saying no more. We don't want this. We don't want you to treat us differently. We want you to be mindful about who and what we are. And then crowdfunding options, of course. If you know a friend who really is in need and we can't get that right straight away, crowdfunding is always an option, but it's not the ideal. The ideal is that we get the medical aids to change the system for everyone. And then creating a support group of women, as you've done here. In one occasion, I've made friends I haven't seen, and made new friends. And that's the power of women. Women know how to network. We really do. And what we need to do better is to use it more effectively to help other women. Well done, Chantal. I'd like to really say thanks again to all of you for listening to me. I promise there was not much legalese in there, except for the work that would have to go into challenging a medical aid, because these are big, powerful organizations. We mustn't underestimate the amount of work it would take for them to think differently about it. But it's definitely something that will now be on our agenda. And I would like to end with a poem by Ellen Bass. She's one of my favorite poets, and I think she's spunky. Charmaine, you said, work the room, be courageous. She is super courageous, Ellen Bass. Do yourselves a favor, look her up, see if you like her poem called French Chocolates. And there's one about Bakersfield, California, which made me really laugh a lot. But this is about breasts. So I'm going to read her poem, which is Ode to My Breasts. And we're going to dedicate this to you, Margie. Good luck for your surgery. We'll be thinking of you, and we know it's going to go well. In a year from now, we'll be all back here, right?
Yes.
And we'll see each other here again. So absolutely. This is for you. Oh, breasts, you are loyal. You are almost as bright as the night. Neil Rosen first beheld you in the back seat of his father's Chevy, gift wrapped in black lace. You are almost as generous as when I nursed my baby, spraying delicate needles of bluish milk into her fierce mouth. Of course you've softened. You've sagged, but still your nipples are doorbells waking the house. They are wicks, eager to be lit. Breasts, you buzz like hives, insistent as geese. I can hardly keep cooped in my blouse. You are pirate chests heavy with gold, sacks of sugar, domes of cathedrals, cumulus clouds. You are ballerinas pirouetting in pink tutus, pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. You are 2 rings of a 3-ring circus. That's full of grapes, artesian wells, swells in the sea. Swirling through time, you are galaxies. You are love letters sealed with red wax. 2 white foxes playing in the snow. You are arias thrilling the farthest rows of the crumbling opera house. Oh, my Roman candles, fountains of fireworks. You are flares set off from a raft lost at sea.